Hello and welcome back if you're back, and welcome and hello if this is something new for you. Like, who is this lady and what is she talking about? And thank you for your curiosity. Today we're continuing the conversation about Ayurvedic doshas, which are mind body constitutions, what happens when they go out of whack. And yes, that's a technical term. I went to school to learn that phraseology. We've done Vata, we've done Pitta, and so the last dosha to get addressed is Kapha. And Kapha has the elements of earth and water. So I joke, I am a Kapha type. And I joke all the time that, what do you get when you mix earth with water? You get mud. And mud is hard to move. And so is Kapha. So, Kapha people can really get into a groove where they're a little miserable and they lose their flexibility. So, and again, like I said, I'm speaking as one. My constitution is Kapha Pitta, and so I've learned to live with them. I've learned, what I need to do to keep everybody balanced as possible, in this world where, considering the amount of distraction that we are bombarded by on a daily basis, and in all day and all night. It's always there. It's not always easy in the modern world to get that, hit a sweet spot of balance. So let's get to it. Just like Vata sort of rules the colon, large intestine. Pitta rules the small intestine, plus the blood and sweat. Kapha rules the chest, head and throat, and stomach. Stomach as in the organ, the stomach, not the whole abdomen with other organs in it, but specifically the organ of the stomach. Kapha dosha is responsible for lubrication in all the body, and the telltale sign of Kapha, like I call myself a Kapha head sometimes, because it feels like chronic congestion even when Kapha's in balance. There's a certain presence, of the Kapha dosha in the head. So, and Kapha's also responsible for like conditions that accelerate or aggravate the production of mucus. So, like you would have too much mucus. And what you want, like Vata probably doesn't have enough sometimes. Pitta's probably burning it up. And then Kapha has a tendency to have too much. Our mucous membranes are what helps us filter out, particles and things from our environment. It serves a great purpose. The Kapha constitution, the Kapha personality part of the constitution is calm and peaceful. They are described as well fed. And, if anyone were to meet me, I think that I would agree with that statement. It's not an insult. It's just how it is. And like I said before, I think I was talking about Vata or Pitta. Vatas tend to be thin in an imbalanced sort of way. But, the Kapha folks sometimes are frustrated with their body size and shape. And so they're like, how come I can't be Vata? It's like you're not going to be a different constitution, but, a balanced Vata is wonderful, just like a balanced Kapha is amazing. So, and that doesn't mean that they're skinny. Kapha people just aren't meant to be skinny. I've met some really thin Kapha folks, and their frame looks better with padding on it. That's what I'm going to say. And looks better is my opinion. But it's also more difficult for a Kapha person to stay thin because their constitution just naturally wants to puff out a little bit. So there's nothing wrong with any of it. When Kapha goes to excess, like the dosha, it gets imbalanced, you can expect Kaphas to get really stubborn, lethargic. They have lung issues, like a deep chest cold with a lot of mucus production, and or in the head, the Kapha heads thing that I talk about frequently. That's Kapha gone wrong when we're sick like that. They can get, when unchecked, Kapha folks can get very overweight, and that just triggers more depression, which they have a tendency to be. Kaphas are very emotionally, they're not the most expressive, but they feel everything. They're very watery because water is in the constitution, earth and water. The earth is responsible for the stubbornness, but then the water is responsible for the emotions. Lethargy, lung issues, they can be very depressed. If you're a Kapha who's depressed, that's when you need your Pitta friend to come along all fiery and get you moving. The worst thing that a Kapha person can do is not move. Stay active, even if it's a little bit of walking or yoga or, Kapha bodies respond really well to lifting weights. They can actually get more muscle built in a shorter amount of time than, say, a Vata can, work all day on weights, and they just don't have the intrinsic structure that a Kapha person has. Kaphas have to be careful that they don't sleep too much. I've been staying in bed a half an hour longer because we've had some really gray days, and that's not good for me. I will stop doing that as of today. So basically the upper half of the body is relates to Kapha. You know how Vata was from the navel down, Kapha's from the navel up. Just pretty much everything from the navel up. And the best exercise, now, of all the doshas, Kapha is probably the most naturally athletic because of the structure of their bodies, and but the least likely to do the exercise that would be really, really good for them. I mean, that's just how it is sometimes. Kaphas would benefit a lot from rigorous yoga, like hot yoga, rigorous swimming, like vata. I think I said gentle swimming, so that it's like a soothing experience. But then a kapha person, you want to be a little more rigorous with your exercise. And you also want to move the entire body when exercising. The big muscle groups and also the smaller muscle groups. So when kapha's way out of balance, like I said, they can be stubborn and too emotional. Now, I don't think anything is bad about expressing emotions. Sometimes you just have to. But there can be with kapha like an overly emotional reaction to something. And that just means that there's too much water in that constitution. You know, go for a walk or a swim or a jog or lift some weights or whatever, you know, to help you expel the energy and get back to a pleasant groove. And kaphas tend to be materialistic, more so than, say, a vata. Kapha is the one who likes to be comfortable in what they're doing, which is also a reason why they might not be exercising as much as would be good for them. Kapha reminds me of, in the Western astrology, Kapha reminds me of a Taurus. Pleasure, nice things, you know. And there's a lot of love there when Kapha is balanced. They're very calm and peaceful. Now, when they go to the point of being overly materialistic, they can also become stingy when out of whack, you know, and like all the nice things, and then too much priority is put on those things. So it's good to just balance the kapha. Speaking of which, because kapha has so many pleasant qualities, and it's really nice to be one and to be around them when they're in balance. But, you know, when they're out of whack, they're harder to be around for different reasons. So next time I post, I will be posting, holistic applications about balancing the imbalanced doshas. And there's some applications you can do at home. I'm all about DIY stuff because I've been in the industry for a long time where people, pay a lot of money to have certain therapies, holistic therapies, and there's no need for that. We have resources to do a lot of this stuff at home, and this is America, so why not? No political talk here. I just wanted to say that. All right, I'll see you next time, and please take care and don't let your kapha run away.